So here we are at the end of another week, and any time that this show starts off with my voice, you know someone's missing.
Kim, you look a little different.
Exactly. Hopefully, obviously, Kim Kasher a little bit under the weather. Hopefully, speedy recovery for her.
We're at DEFCON 3 right now.
I know.
Babbage is gone.
I know.
Kasher is sick. We're at Mitch Clinton.
I know. It's just gone down the priority. I think they asked all of you guys if you wanted to host this first, and they're like, no.
He also said, no, Mitch is a natural for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mitch wasn't just the first guy I saw when Jeremy said, Kim is sick. And I was like, Mitch, you. Yeah, how do you like this?
That's what I get for
What were
coming
we
in
even talking
early.
about
You
this
know
week?
what, Mitch, most of the time you sit quietly.
Well,
And when you say something, it's really good, but today, it's
I
all
gotta
about
do a lot
you.
of
We're going to force you into this role.
We're actually just
I
going
like
to
it.
leave and just let you take this on yourself.
It's more of a monologue.
All right. Well.
Okay, so
The poor
what's
viewers.
up?
The poor viewers. First thing, a prominent political pundit, Diane Francis, is talking. She kind of threw out a thought experiment, is what she's calling it. And it's the merger of Canada and the United States of America. First thought is.
What?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, more so.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit terrifying. There's obviously some good things that could go with it, she says. Canada is basically empty and presents massive development opportunities. I think one of the things she mentioned was our north compared to the state of Alaska. It's our north very underdeveloped compared to Alaska. We feel bringing in the United States, maybe that brings more money in, but you're also bringing in their deficit. Higher levels of immigration. Canada's getting older, she says. A merger of the U.S. will bring in more healthy demographics, of course. And basically it gives the U.S. access to our oil, too, which is kind of...
I think that's
And
silly.
everything
I think it's terrible.
Silliness.
The thing that strikes me about the first comment, though, is just because, no one's there, so we need to move in. That's a very American way, I think, of looking at it.
It
where I personally think that's a good thing, that we have untouched land, and it's beautiful, and we should really embrace that. And that's where our natural resources lie, which are Canada's big thing.
Yes, and isn't it Al Gore who's all about global warming and saving,
That's
the
true.
earth?
He's against it, though. He's against it.
He's against
Yeah,
it?
he's against it.
See, I know very little about this, so I'm just putting it out there, and I wouldn't want to live up north. In North
Well, and
Carolina.
she did mention, like I said, it is a thought experiment. She's kind of throwing it out there for the sake of conversations like this. She did say, of course, there's going to be a number of different things. Obviously, our health system, very different. She mentioned Canadians in the new nation would get a special health card that would entitle them to the free health care. And really, what, Americans going to sit around and let that happen kind of thing.
Republicans aren't going to allow that to happen.
Yeah. She also mentioned Quebec. There might be some issues there. And then she also said, in no particular order, guns, the drug war, religion and U.S. politics, profoundly different legal codes, and of course 3 downs in the CFL. But that's
That's what we've been working towards, the most important thing.
Yeah,
right? The
really.
3 downs versus 4 downs.
See how I shaped
the whole
that?
oil thing, the politics, the legal stuff, who cares really, but 3 downs versus 4 downs.
Yeah.
Where do you think they would do 3.5?
They would do.
Yeah.
But who's for it? Obviously, there had to have been some little...
Desperate Americans. I don't know.
I don't really know
It's an
either.
interesting
It's
thought. All it is just a thought. But I think it makes more sense if you want to bring us together. You have to start with the monetary system almost. Like the UK has the euro.
Yeah.
That would make a lot more sense as at least a starting point than be like, boom, countries are together, guys.
Yeah. There would be a lot of logistics, but the main thing that came to my mind when I thought about this, no more limits on what you can cross with.
There is no
that
border to
disappears.
go.
That would be good.
Yeah, I mean,
Shopping.
I think that I just feel though that's the cheap way of looking at it. Ooh, I can bring back as much booze as I want. What if they adopted our liquor laws?
Oh, no, see there,
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it.
They would stop.
But is it slowly making a trickle up here? We're noticing now all the American stores are here. I mean, and they do have a great influence on our life.
Yeah, well, you make a great point. We're talking about this as a thought experiment, it hasn't already begun, but in a lot of ways and for a lot of intents and purposes, it has begun, and it is the case that our countries are melded into one,
Yeah.
right? Culturally, we are not distinct at all. We're like this little, that on the Looney Tunes, that big bulldog and that little dog. Oh, come on, we're gonna play. Yeah, we're that little dog. Culturally speaking, anyway. We watch all their movies and TV and listen to all their music. And
I don't think we are that little dog, though. I think that's what they think, the U.S. thinks we are. But I think we are just kind of silently watching and observing and being like, no, that's not for us. But it's also who we are as a people. To suggest that we would be like, oh, sure, it sounds like a good deal. Yeah, you go take our resources and we'll shop at Target. That sounds good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think we have the idea of being a little bit passive as a people, but
I want to make it very clear. I don't mean that in all ways we are, but I just mean culturally. Like as far as the media goes, like when you go out to see a movie, do you look for a Canadian movie or do you look for an American movie? Or either, it's not even look for what you know. You just oh man, Iron Man 3 is out. Yeah,
it's there, but I think Canadians are in a way silently kind of rolling their eyes because we've grown up as like observers of this great cultural beast in front of us,
where
right?
they might start it is the whole working visa and like letting Canadians work in America and letting Americans work up here. I mean, it's really hard for Canadians to work in America. So by slowly letting go of those stringent laws, then easier to go live in America and easier for Americans to live here in Canada. It might be a little bit of, I don't know.
Well, I just think at this point, if it's all about resources, maybe they need to think about the way that they use resources.
Or treating their
and treat, exactly. It's like, well, we've screwed up our own backyard. Let's just move, let's just conquer another, or maybe not conquer, that might be a strong word, but let's just move into someone else's backyard because we're friendly with them. It's like, I don't know, it's like moving in with your aunt because you burned down your own house. You're like, we don't want you here. Yeah.
It's like we're already here. Like we're already doing our thing. And I think because we are a little bit passive, it's like, oh well, clearly they're not using this. So it's like, no, we're getting to it.
But would you say maybe the defense of our country might be enhanced a little bit? Bringing in that military.
Yeah.
The defense.
I don't know if I want to be on that.
No, yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy with our 1.5 submarines or whatever.
You know what I liked that has come out of this conversation though is that Canadians are once again talking about being like, I don't know, I really like my country is what kind of come out. Where America, you go down there and they're just like there's flags everywhere. America, stuff like that. And we're much more passive as a people. Yeah. When really we should just maybe trumpet our own country a little bit more. Yeah,
what I'm worried about if this actually, and not if this takes place, but even talk about this is going to motivate people like Minutemen to sit at the border between Canada and the U.S. with rifles and stuff, just watching for Canadians sneaking through the woods. I think that's
it's interesting, actually.
Dystopian, to say the least.
There is one other similarity that has developed recently, and that's both of our governments tend to shut down. That does happen in both countries already. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about healthy eating. See how that goes. We'll be right back.